Ladies and gentlemen, Black Ops Cold War Zombies has finally been revealed. And today I want to talk to you guys about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the game since I've played it, since I've gone through play DLC 9. I'm joking. I actually haven't played this game at all. Please stop telling me that I played the game. I wouldn't be telling you that I haven't played it if I have played it, okay? Dang it. Anyway, getting it started with section 1, we're going to be talking about the good first, because this is obviously the biggest section for me. You guys, it's no secret that I absolutely loved the reveal yesterday. We do have things to talk about in the bad and ugly categories, but let's talk about the good because it's going to be a good year, in my opinion. First and foremost, let's talk about the not even gameplay related thing that is free DLC. This is something we have never ever seen before in Zombies. You could buy the season pass at the beginning and then you could technically get all of the maps free throughout as kind of like an initial investment, but not everyone bought the season pass. Not everyone was interested enough in the game to spend $110, 60 plus the 50 to get the full battle pass to literally have the entire season right up front. And the fact that DLC is now free is absolutely massive for retaining Zombies players and pulling in multiplayer players and having everybody have the opportunity to play Zombies at all times. Next up is cross-play and cross-platform progression. So as you guys know, like, you're literally going to be able to do what you do in Modern Warfare. You're gonna be able to play with anybody and you're gonna be able to progress your account on anything. It's all gonna be stored on Activision servers. This seems like the new norm going forward from Modern Warfare, and it is incredible that we can have this for Zombies. I can hop on PC, I can play with people who are on Xbox, PlayStation, it doesn't matter. Everybody is going to be connected, and that again ends the console wars effectively between, hey, I'm on this console, you're on this console, sorry, I can only play with people on my respective console. And that's huge. It's not even gameplay related, but it's something that is never before been seen in Zombies, and is going to be amazing to see it being the new norm. Now, let's get into the meat of it all. The first thing that I want to talk about in the actual gameplay / story of this game is the fact that it is based in Aether. I always said to myself, if the Chaos story, the one that got basically canceled halfway through the season because people weren't liking it, if the Chaos story was at least some way in like one single line thread or something connected with the Aether story, people would have cared about it more. But now we actually have it based within the Aether story after the events of Tog Der Toten. Dark Aether is the most unexplored area of Zombies. People are saying, hey, where's like Richtofen? Where's so-and-so? You know what I mean? The Dark Aether don't give no F's about any of that. They could be coming back, yes, but they could also just be lost to the Aether when they shut down the multiverse. And that actually leads very nicely into my next point. The multiverse is no longer a thing. The thing where you could have Richtofen and the Giant being shot by his other version of Richtofen, that Richtofen dies and the other Richtofen takes over. All the different Richtofens are gone, basically. Now there's only one. Except we're not talking about Richtofen anymore. We're talking about our new characters, everything like that. There is only one of everything. That means that actions actually have consequences in this. Basically, there's no do-overs. There's no, oh, don't worry, we have another version of Richtofen. He's still alive, kind of, really. That stuff is completely gone. I feel like when you have a multiverse, it makes things very confusing for the story, and things don't really have consequences because there's always another universe. In this world that they're setting up for Dark Aether, there is one universe, and that was confirmed, and I am so excited to see how they do a story that does not have a multiverse in it. I cannot wait. Next up, let's hop into some actual gameplay mechanics. Number 1, upgradable perks. This is the number 1 thing that we've been asking for in Zombies for so long. We don't know if it's going to be in-game. We don't know if it's going to be a loadout style where you pick it beforehand. Either way, for me, it literally doesn't matter, because perks actually having more than one effect. Say, instead of buying Jug, you just get like, you go to a 7-hit down. Instead, you upgrade Jug, you now have an 8-hit down. It now has other effects like the God Helmet and Revelations. The purple Jugs are everything, man, and I think they're gonna have a version for every single perk. If I had to guess, the fact that they said upgradable perks, it's not just gonna be Jug. Think of Deadshot Daiquiri actually being useful. Say it has like something where activates alternate ammo types faster. It has something where it does increased headshot damage. Deadshot Daiquiri actually becoming a useful perk, and we have 5 confirmed perks, by the way. We have Jug, Speed Cola, Elemental Pop, the new perk. We have Deadshot Daiquiri, and we have, I said Speed Cola, Quick Revive. All 5 of those are confirmed as the perks, and I believe there's only going to be 6 total, because in the PlayStation article, they basically said, crack open a 6-pack if you have enough money. We know 5 of them. There's one more out there that we don't know what it is. That makes 6 perks, and that leads very nicely into my next kind of caveat here. There's no perk limit. If they have gobblegums or microtransactions, whatever in this, which they obviously aren't announcing now. If they do, they might not at the end of the day. That's just a question mark. I can't put it in a category. But if they do, perkaholics aren't going to be the most OP thing in the entire world, because you're going to be able to buy every single perk, and it gives the perfect, this is the number 1 thing I've been saying for years. 4 perk limit, especially on solo, is so lame. If you have the points, you start getting up into these later rounds, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to buy an extra perk slot or just have an extra perk slot. It's so lame that it makes no sense for the game. And if you have not only upgradable perks, where these 5 perks really do the effects of like 8 perks, like say PhD has Jug attached to it, or Speed Cola has like Electric Cherry attached to it. You really have like 8 perks with these core perks, and then you get no perk limit. It's incredible. It's actually such a good decision that I applaud them on so much, because it takes away the sense of once you progress far enough in the map, you hit a brick wall. There's always going to be something to buy until you're at like round 35, 40, when you should be fully set up. So huge thumbs up on that. And plus now they're in little cans too, so that's kind of cool. Next up is the loadout system, which half of this is going to actually go into my bad category that I'll explain in a second. But the first half I want to talk about is that you can level up your guns in multiplayer. You can unlock attachments, extended mags, all that stuff you can actually unlock in multiplayer and then bring it over to zombies. No more do you have to just grind out these guns that you would never normally use in zombies in order to get like all the attachments on them in zombies for the gunsmith. You now are able to actually do this in multiplayer. You don't have to be forced into zombies to rank up zombie guns. I think that's actually huge, and something that I found myself really annoyed about a lot of the time, that I don't want to level up the RK5 to have the best attachments on the RK5, but if I'm going for Damascus or something like that, or whatever the equivalent is in multiplayer, I already have those attachments on the gun. I don't have to do that in zombies. Everything is connected. All the progress, the level up, even the prestige system, whatever that's going to be, is going to be connected in zombies and multiplayer. And just tying on with that as well, zombies are also going to get battle pass progression. Whenever you're playing zombies, you're going to be ranking up the battle pass, which makes me think, number 1, there may not even be microtransactions in zombies. I think it's a very huge possibility that everything is just tied to the battle pass, because the battle pass has been so successful for them in making money. Use creator code NOJ456, all caps, by the way. Anyway. I think the battle pass progression is going to be maybe the new microtransactions. This also means that battle pass might have zombie stuff in it. Like every tier has like multiplayer stuff, Warzone stuff, and then zombie stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's possible that these characters could be leveled up through the battle pass, and you might get cool skins and stuff like that for zombies through that, which I think would be absolutely incredible. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is no nostalgia. Now, I know that the map is Nocturne Toad. If you look past that, and it looks like Treyarch really looked past that, they probably dedicated about 5 seconds to saying it was Nocturne Toad, and then it shoved it in our face. Zombie players will love our new nostalgia of Nocturne Toad. No, it was literally the characters return to Nocturne Toad, and there's basically just the map and then everything else around it. Like the real map is underground and everything around Nocturne Toad, it's just there as kind of like a centerpiece, I guess. I loved the fact that there was no nostalgia in that reveal trailer. Nothing that was like, hey, remember this? Like there was a few fan service moments of like Jug and Monkey Bombs, but that was more just revealing that they were back. Everything was new. Everything was new. And if you wanted to look one step farther and find out that Samantha, the girl on the phone booth, was actually Samantha Maxis, you could, but they didn't rely on nostalgia of saying, everybody look, it's Samantha Maxis. You know what I mean? And I think that is huge for developing the zombie story. And I think it matters that it's based in Aether still. Being based in Aether makes people care about it. But now we're caring about a new story because they're not relying on nostalgia. They're pushing the story in a new direction. And I think that is one of the best decisions that they made in zombies in a very long time. So we have finished with the good. Now let us talk about the bad and the ugly categories. Again, they're not as long, but they are there, and I do want to address them and kind of provide some counterpoints here, because When I think about them in certain ways, and if they work in certain ways, they actually go into the good category. But I obviously, as of right now, think they kind of deserve in the category they're in. First up, the big one that I saw, you no longer spawn in with a pistol. After you've been playing zombies for a little bit, or after you played a little bit of multiplayer, you actually spawn in with a fully equipped AR if you want to. Now, at first I was like, well, there goes any need to hit the mystery box, buy any wall buys. It's kind of the problem that some maps had in Black Ops 3, where there was no progression. You just bought a wall buy. Even in Black Ops 4, before they nerfed the MOG, you just buy the MOG and you're good for the entire game. There's no progression through the map of your guns. And when I first heard this, I was like, oh, that is a little bit of a question mark. But then I thought about it a little bit, and they have something new that I didn't even talk about in the good because I wanted to save it for now, which is the gun rarity system. Now, I think basically what's gonna happen is you're gonna spawn in with whatever weapon you want. You can spawn in with an RPG, you can spawn in with a 500 round LMG. Whatever you wanna spawn in with, that's fine. It's gonna be pretty good on rounds like maybe 1 through 10. But I think what they're gonna do is no matter what you spawn in with, it's gonna be the lowest rarity of gun. It's gonna be like a gray AR in Fortnite. It's gonna be that super, super low tier, no damage gun that is good for the first couple rounds. So it allows new players to actually like engage the zombies, like get past the first couple rounds in zombies, which is really nice for bringing in new people to zombies, getting people interested, growing our community. But I think once you get past those first 10 rounds, you're going to be forced to start hitting the box. You're going to be forced to be buying wall buys because the higher rarity guns are going to be in there, and those are going to be the guns that get you past round 15, 20, 25, 30. Those are the guns that actually kill the zombies, and I think that's how they're going to do it. If that's not how they're going to do it, this is going to remain in the bad category. But I think not only this brings the gun rarity idea up into the higher tier categories and into the good category, but also brings that starting AR because it allows people to have more choice when they start the game. It's not you're still starting from bare bones, but maybe it gives newer players a chance. Like, no one who's good at zombies is going to die before round 10. And it's going to allow more point building. Maybe you want to use a pistol because you can build more points with it, and that's what something expert players do. New players can spawn with an AR. I think that's incredible. Next up is the XFill system. Now, apparently there is now a way to beat zombies. You can, at any point in time, it seems like, maybe it's after a certain round, they didn't really mention it, but at any point in time, you can beat zombies. You can say, hey, I want to escape on a helicopter. I want to get out of here. Now, at first, again, when I first thought about this, I put it into the bad category. I was kind of writing down things as the reveal was going on yesterday. I put this immediately into the bad category because I was like, zombies is supposed to be endless. It's supposed to be endless waves, and you're supposed to be dying at the end of it. But after giving it a little bit more thought, I think it has the possibility of being actually a good thing as well. Number one, you go to round 10, you decide you don't want to play anymore, and you exfil. Who cares, right? You went to round 10, you exfilled. Apparently it's going to be like a mini boss challenge. Like, you have to go through a couple like really, really heavy boss waves and stuff like that in order to actually exfil once you initiate it, however you initiate it. That is going to be the first option there, is that exfil button whenever you're ready for it. Option number 2, and what really I think actually makes me like this, is if you go to like round 100. What do you do when you go to round 100, right? If anyone has never done a round 100, what do you do? I mean, for me, I'm just like, all right, guys, we're done. I stand there and the zombies kill me, and then it says game over, and we made it to round 100, but I mean, that was it. With the new XFill system, you can make it to round 100 and then trigger the XFill. Survive a couple of really, really hard rounds on round 100, which is going to be a huge challenge. And then you're able to actually extract at round 100. It adds that like final boss fight. It's the new round 100 boss fight. Like, you know how people will like save the final boss in a map until round 100 and then beat it on round 100. That's the round 100 boss fight. This is the new round 100 boss fight, except you don't have to do the Easter egg. You can exfil. I don't think the exfil is going to replace the Easter egg. I think it's going to be another option there for players who maybe like to just do an exfil. It's an ending to zombies that takes you out not dying and not doing the Easter egg, exfilling. I think it's overall a good thing. And even though I initially put it into bad, when I'm thinking about it more, I've slept on it for a day, I actually tend to really enjoy this. The last thing up on the bad list is intel tracking. Now, I don't want to say too much about this because we really don't know a lot, but basically I think all of the radios and everything like that are going to be condensed into this machine that you can access in game. It is what I think it works, but I'm not confident enough in that to really say it. Basically, I think it's going to be kind of like World War II, where you have a terminal that you can access all the intel on the map, all the like ciphers, all the radios, all the cutscenes, everything like that. And if that exists in game, that is a bad thing because it takes you out of the game. However, if I'm wrong and this intel machine actually is accessible from the menus, I think it's the greatest thing ever. You can actually listen to radios without having to die. Now, two things. I hope that number one, you actually have to find the radios and find the ciphers first before they unlock. I don't want everything to be unlocked for the map before it even starts. I want you to have to like manually play each radio or look at each cipher for it to be unlocked in this little terminal. But if it is on the menu and you do have to do that, I think it's a good thing. But as of the way they showed it like zooming into it on the trailer. If it's in the game and it takes you out of the game, bad thing. If it's not, if it's on the menu, it's a good thing. So that's a little bit of a question mark, but as of right now, until I see otherwise, it's in the bad category. Last but not least, I know a few of you guys have been licking your chops and ready to go on this one. Let's get to the ugly category. Now, I only have two things in the ugly category because I'm nervous for them and I don't know how they're gonna work out. And one of them is a little bit more of a question mark than the other one. I think I'm pretty solid that I just don't really like about it, and it's the only thing I really don't like about the reveal. Let's talk about the question mark first. That is score streaks. Now, score streaks have never been in zombies. I'm gonna put it plainly. This is something that's never been in zombies before. We've had specialist weapons, which technically are score streaks to an extent. The only problem I have with score streaks, in basically this kind of stems from BO4, is that the specialist weapons, aka the score streaks of BO4, were so insanely powerful that they nerfed the guns. Like, your guns didn't actually kill anything in BO4. Your guns were horrible at killing things, actually. The alternate ammo types were trash. They took forever to like reactivate, like be able to be used again. And the gun damage was a joke. The MOG was the only thing that killed, and then they nerfed the MOG. I hated how long it took to kill zombies in BO4. Zombies is about shooting your gun at zombies and them dying and having fun. It really shouldn't stop being that way until like round 40. I think you should be able to shoot a zombie to death way before round 4. Like, you should be easily doing it like up to round 30. Once it gets to round 30 to 40, it gets harder. Round 40 plus, you usually are going to be relying on like traps or alternate ammo types. If they make score streaks way better, that it's all you want to use to actually kill the zombies, I don't mind them being like a mini power spike. I think that's going to be a bad thing. I think guns should be the first and foremost most powerful thing. Score streaks, if you want to just clear a horde real quick, cool. They should be a like one-time, like very limited one-time use quick thing. And the other thing I'm nervous about is the chopper gunner for solo players. For solo players, how is this gonna work? It's either gonna be OP or it's gonna be trash. And I don't like when solo players have a different experience than 4-player, you know what I mean? Solo, it's either gonna make all the zombies ignore you and run away, and then you get a free get out of jail free card where all the zombies ignore you and you can just mow down zombies, or they're all gonna attack you while you're using it and it's trash. Those are the two options. So score streaks, I don't mind things like the war machine or even the sentry turret, stuff like that. I really don't mind that a whole lot. The main problem I have is with things like the chopper gunner, and I think that's gonna be a question mark. Again, I haven't played the game, so maybe it is just fine, but that's one of my uglies for right now. And the only other thing that I don't really like is that there's no set crew. Now, this is the #1 complaint. It's not new. I've seen this a lot. And personally, I think how they're gonna do the story is Samantha, Weaver, anyone else who's important is gonna be talking over the loudspeakers. Remember on DE when basically Richtofen and the doctor on the moon were talking over the radio? Say you were playing as Nikolai in a solo game, you heard Richtofen, you still heard the same conversations, but everything was just over radios. So I think the storyline will still be there. I think it'll still be fine, but I am gonna miss like having that person-to-person interaction and learning about characters. And when it's just like Adler or like a campaign character we already know about, or just a random multiplayer character that we don't really want to know about, I think that's what diminishes it a little bit. So I hope in later maps they go with the set crew and they have interactions with each other. Maybe it's a development thing where they like don't have enough time to do it. In that case, that's fine. But if it's just a choice, it's not my favorite choice, and it's something that I hope they change. And I was just kidding. I have 3 things in the ugly. The last one is Dead Ops Arcade. If you play Dead Ops Arcade, you are a potato. No, I'm just kidding. Dead Ops Arcade, I forgot to mention that for good. Dead Ops Arcade 3 is coming back if you didn't see, which will be incredible. I freaking love Dead Ops Arcade, and I know people who love it way more than me too. So people are gonna be very, very impressed. And a quick recap, the good was by far the biggest category. Free DLC, crossplay, dark Aether storyline, upgradable perks, no perk limit, one universe, battle pass progression, things for zombies, and microtransactions that are actually like worthwhile, leveling up your guns in multiplayer, prestiging in multiplayer and zombies, cross progression, and no nostalgia, writing, and Dead Ops Arcade 3. Those are all good. The bad that I actually I just realized this, I actually kind of put all of these in the good category except for intel tracking. So in the good category, as well as the starting gun with the gun rarity, kind of changing that into an actual good thing. I really like the gun rarity system, and then the starting gun being a bad gun at the start would actually be a good thing. XFill, I think that's a good thing as well. So basically that was all good. Bad things, intel tracking could be bad if they implement it not correctly, and then the ugly things is not having the crew, and then possibly the score streaks if they are basically unbalanced. I want them to be extremely balanced. I want them to be something that you can use to help you if you want, but you don't need them. I don't want to be reliant on using a chopper gunner in solo in order to do well. You know what I mean? That's my concern. Overall, I am literally like 9.5 out of 10 hyped for this game. I've seen really, really positive responses from everybody on Twitter, everybody on YouTube. So here's to hoping we have a very, very good year ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen.